Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I got Chris here, one of the BMW club guys, and we're gonna do a maintenance on the brakes of his 335. So he's actually full bolt on stage 2, right?
Right.
All right guys, so we got brakes here. It looks like OEM rotors, but we're gonna change them out because they're pulsating a little bit as he presses the brake, and we're gonna do a pad change and then a brake flush. So let's check out how to do maintenance on your brakes. All right guys, so here we are. We're gonna first start by loosening up the bolts in the back of the caliper, which is, let me see if I can show you guys. These guys right here, and they're 18 millimeter. There's one there and one here. So those two bolts are going to come off, loosen up first, not all the way off yet. We're also going to remove this line because we're going to put new lines, and only one you're going to actually take off is this top one, which is 11 millimeter right here. Then this will pop off, and when you put it on, you could use a 14 to hold it, to counter it when you tighten it up. And then this side has no sensor, but if you had a sensor, you can watch my other video to see how you put it on, or we'll do the rear with the sensor and you'll kind of get an idea. So that'll be pretty easy. Then we're going to disconnect the line 14 millimeter here on the caliper, and we'll do a brake pad change after, and you can kind of see how that goes. And then we'll do a rotor replacement as well. So we'll start with this line. Like impact. Alright, so we got that loose. Now we're going to come over here to our 11 millimeter and we're going to loosen this guy up. Alright, so we're going to just loosen this up. So there it is. See how it comes out? It comes right out of this bracket, and this is going to be just plugging in. So we'll get that side out. On this side here, we have a clip. I'll show you guys the clip. This clip right here, it needs to be, get a screwdriver under it and pry it up. There we go, guys. 2 heads are better than 1. Alright, we got that. Now we can pretty much pull this guy out and over. So it just comes out and over, and we're loose. And then we got a 14 millimeter right here. Pretty simple. And this is not on a swivel, so you gotta turn the whole line when you're getting it out. Alright, there's that. We'll grab our new line. So just twist it on. Alright, let's get it tight. And you want to get it like pretty tight, but not like, don't force anything. So I go like pretty much hand tight and then a quarter turn, and I'm pretty happy with that. So let's put the bottom there. There we go. We're going to route it through, go under here, come back up to the top, and we're going to go in and start putting this guy back on. Alright, so now we're going to use our 14 to counter on the bottom, and we're going to use our 11, and again, just get it tight to where it stops like a little bit, it gives you resistance, and then you're done. Alright, so we're going to remove these big old 18 millimeters from the back. There's one down, one top. I'm working on the top right now. Pretty easy. On this, which I just took off and I'll show you, on the rotor we have an Allen. It's a 6 millimeter Allen. So the Allen wrench is going to pull this guy out. Looks like this, like on my other video. And then we're just literally going to pull this thing off. It comes. The other one came off really easy. This one, there we go. One Allen strike. And there it is. So we'll get the new one. Alright guys, so the rotor goes on here. We're going to kind of adjust it to make sure we're lined up with everything. Get our 6 millimeter nice and tight. Put it back on here. Alright. These These are as tight as you can get it with your hand, and that's about it. Don't go crazy. All right, here we go. So next we're gonna put our caliper back on. I'm gonna push these in a little bit if I can to clear the new rotor. All right, let's get a couple bolts in there. So I got like a little nail punch, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna stick our nail punch into these little areas where our pins are, and we're just gonna knock it out. There's 1, 2. So we got the pins kind of poking out right now. We're gonna get our pliers, and we're gonna remove the rest of the way. So get that here, grab it, and just pull the pins out. There's 1 and 2, and this guy will come out, our retaining clip. All right, so now what we're gonna do is pull out one side first. So 1 brake pad side, there it is, pretty easy. And then number 2 right here, there it is. All right, to change brakes, guys, is literally that quick. So we got some ceramic lubricant for brake parts. And we're going to use this for our parts here. So I'm putting it in a couple different places. 1 is the back of the pads. I like to use a good bit, lubricate. And then 2 is going to be where our pins make contact with the cylinder. I mean, where the pins actually go through. So there's like little places where they ride. We're going to put it on that. Kind of lubricate them a little bit. They were dry anyway. So we're going to use our fingers to push the pistons back a little bit. If I can't get them with my finger, I have this little kind of bent screwdriver, and you can kind of push them back a little bit.
Fluid, yeah.
All right, so let's see if I can get that guy in. So shimmy it in. There he goes. 1's in, guys. And then same thing on this side. Just kind of push them with your fingers if you can. The pistons. There we are. So now we got this clip, and you want to make sure you put it in the right way. The other side, Chris caught me putting it in the wrong way. The one that's actually out the furthest, on these triangles, need to be pushed against, because that's where they get their springiness from. So we're going to go in. We're going to put the first clip. First clip's going to go from the back through the brake pad. Has like a little channel, so you might have to pull the pad out a little bit here. So through the brake pad, under the clip. The first one's a little harder to put in. So under the clip, through the next brake pad, which again needs to be possibly adjusted. There it goes. And then out to here. And for now, we're just going to tap it in so we can see it come out. There. So we're just going to set it in for now. We're going to get our other pin. We're going to push down onto the spring, come through the brake pad again, over the spring. See how it goes over the spring. Next brake pad comes through the brake pad again. We're going to take our hammer and just gently tap it in. And now they're not fully set yet, so I'm going to tap them a little more. And when you see the heads poke out a little more, we're set. So we're going to take a nail set, come to the back, and just give them our final tap. And there we are. See how you can see the little silver heads poking out? You know you're set at that point. And that's a full brake change, guys. They make these pretty easy for on the go when you're at the track and all that good stuff. All right, so in the back, we're going to put in our line. It comes from the front, back. Then we have a retaining clip that they come with. You're going to slide the retaining clip in the back over the line. You guys can see how that retaining clip went in. Let me see if I can show you guys right there. It kind of clips onto the back, so that way it kind of holds that in there and it doesn't move. All right, guys, so while we're on the rotor, let's go ahead and remove this real quick. It's the actual Allen wrench This is a 6 millimeter Allen wrench, so we're just going to break this off while we're here. It's nice and rusty because it's next to the brake. It gets hot and cold a lot. There we go. After that, we're going to remove this retaining clip and just get it a pry bar or a screwdriver and push inwards. And she'll shoot out for you. There's the pin or the retainer. Next, we're going to remove the whole caliper assembly. So I'm going to get a screwdriver, and there's some caps on the end. I'll show you guys when I pull them out of our slider pins, slider bolts. These are just caps, dust caps. So we're just going to pry those out on both sides. We got an 8 millimeter Allen wrench. Make sure your orientation is correct. And we're going to pull these guys out here. So just loosen those guys up. Sometimes they come out easy, sometimes you give them some persuasion, but there it goes. So there's one pad. The other pad has like a retaining spring type thing. There we go. Pull the pad out, and then we'll get that sensor out in just a second here. Set that. So pull the sensor out. The sensor is just going to take some pliers and pull it out. We're going to reuse the sensor since he hasn't reached the sensor. Pull that guy out. And we're going to let this hang because we're going to change the actual line anyway. And there it is. So it has some kind of like spring where it fits inside of the piston itself to hold it in there. So there's that. Alright guys, so because we're changing the rotor, next we're going to pull off the actual assembly here that holds on the brake pads and all that good stuff. And these guys are tough. These guys are on there really good. So it's going to be a little bit of, if you got a long reach ratchet, the longer the better for extra torque. Alright. Well, we got the frame off. Alright, so now guys, what you want to do is, this is actually a drum inside of it. So release your e-brake, which we already did, and then she's going to be a little bit hard to get off, so give her a couple of taps all the way around. And then right here where it's in the opening, give it one or two good ones. There she is. Alright guys, so I just mentioned, we went out of battery, so let me just go over this again. This is a drum brake that works, it's just your e-brake. So if your e-brake's up, your rotor is not going to come out because this drum brake's in the way, obviously. We're going to put our new rotor on. There's the drum for the drum, and then our rotor here. We're going to make sure we line up our set screw with the set screw on the actual hub there. And then we're going to put the set screw in first. 6 millimeter Allen. Close it up. We will put in our back to our caliper frame, and we'll set this up here. All right. But I'm gonna take this off first, put the new line on, and then we'll put new pads and everything and stick it right on there. All right, so let's get our 11 millimeter and loosen up our brake line here. All right guys, so we got that loose. Just kind of get it loose all the way. Falls right out. Let's get our pan under it. We'll get our 14 millimeter here. Break this guy. Come over our pan. We're in. All right, so what we're going to do is put this guy inside of here, and then we're going to turn there's a little knob on there like a ratchet, and it'll start ratcheting it out. So it just starts tightening the pads together and spreading them, spreading the pads and pushing the piston in. So pretty nice little tool. All right, so we're maxed out there. Now we can release it and go back a little bit and then get it out. So here's where we'll attach this guy back up, and then we'll put our pads in. Tighten it up, the counter. Sensor is actually going to go attached to this guy. Let me hang that for 1 second. And we're going to go through that. Let me do it like they did. So sensor is going to go through this little hole. Let's get it in here. And then into the back of the brake pad here. Let me see if I can get this all in one. And we're going to slide the sensor with the pad side out into the brake pad. So the little pad side is going to be out into the brake pad. And then we're going to set that back into the piston. Come over here and slide it onto our, this one's going to be here. Slide it back onto our rotor and get it set. All right, now we're there. All right, that's all good. Put the little foot onto the outside there. What we found works is we're gonna put, I think we put this side in first, no? And then we did. And then we sprung it.
There you go.
And how did I put pressure on it like this, backwards? Or should I just try to?
I think we got the feet on like that, and then we pry back on this side to get it pushed in at the same time.
There we go. That's it. Two heads are better than one. This is the first time I've done the non-M Sport brakes, so I'm learning as well. That feels good there. Yeah, that's holding. All right, guys, so that's it for the brakes. Now comes bleeding. I'm going to go over these just to make sure everything's tight, which I've already done, but I just want to make sure. And then we're going to put our dust caps back on to the back of those slider bolts. Alright guys, so like on my previous video, we're going to start pumping this power bleeder. I'm going to go to 15 PSI and we're going to leave it there. Once we're looking good, we're going to start the bleeding process. And you want to start the furthest away from your tank reservoir. So we're going to go back passenger, then we're going to go back driver, then front passenger, front driver. That's going to be our way to do that. One of us is going to be watching this gauge here and there, and then one of us is just going to go through the bleeding cycle. So on this side we have a little jar that's going to act like our reservoir for bleeding, and all it's really doing is going to be sucking the brake fluid. So you're going to put this guy over your little nipple there. We're going to get our 11 millimeter, and we're going to let it drip a little bit, and then we're going to close it. So that's our routine here. We can't get, we need to get a smaller 11. And you guys will see the actual fluid. I'm going to close it a little bit, and then we're going to wait for it a second or two. All right, so now we're going to crack it open again. So you guys can see that it is again running. See where the bubbles break up and now it's coming solid. There goes another group of bubbles. Just close it. Check our pressure. Come back. Alright guys, so we're putting the wheels back on. No reason to show you guys the bleeding process. We showed you a little bit of it. But we have another video. I have another video out when I did my brakes, so you guys can know how it is. And normally you're gonna go through about 3 of these bottles, these mold tool, and I think these are, what are they, 500 milliliter. That's what we use there. So anyway, there's the old stuff, and I pretty much filled, I would say 2.5 of these whole ones. They're like half, maybe a little bit more. All right, guys. So we'll see Chris next time, and whenever he does something again, we'll help him out. See you guys on the next video. Please like and subscribe.